I think I was in Hong Kong when Weintraub came over. I believe I was in Hong Kong, and he told me this. He thought it would be really good, and that he would probably postpone the work on his own project, Game of Death, and probably go with Warner Brothers on this particular picture they're working on. And he's very excited about it, working with the caliber people that were going to be in the picture. That's what I remember about it, and turned out to be pretty good by most people's opinion. It was my I believe my 28th or 29th birthday. I can't remember now. But he said, let's work out. So we worked out. We sparred, we worked out. And he said, let's work out. Let's spar right now. So the last part was the sparring again. And I remember him hitting me in the breadbasket and just laughing. And I'm laying on the ground because I'm really out of wind. And he kept on laughing. I said, boy, this is kind of unusual. That was really a hard shot. And I can't grab it. And so he brought this birthday cake out. And he said, Wayne, which was Wayne Chan, bring out the birthday cake. He brings his birthday cake out. The the candles are all lit. And he starts to sing Happy Birthday. His voice wasn't the best voice. He starts singing Happy Birthday to me. I was laying on the ground. And he says, I just want to do that for your birthday. And that's what I remember him about that. The other thing I thought was kind of comical for me one time in the Zeiler and Zeiler store, he asked me one time, where do all the young kids buy their clothes? And of course, he was always a very dapper dresser. So he went to Zeiler and Zeiler. So we go to Zeiler and Zeiler, and this guy starts, for some odd reason, starts touching him. He kept on going, man, these are real nice threads. Where'd you get these nice threads like that? And this goes on for 15 minutes. So he keeps handling them. Of course, he doesn't like people to handle him. And he says, I do Kung Fu. And the guy goes, what's Kung Fu? And he says, let me show you. This is called the 1-inch punch. And I'm going, oh, he's not really going to do that to him here, is he? And I remember him doing that 1-inch punch like this, and the guy goes sailing into the clothes rack with the sport jackets on, his feet are up in the air, and I go, oh gosh, this is not going to be good. Because the chair that he was supposed to hit, he went toppled over, he went over. And I didn't think anything of it, and I thought, hey, let's see if we ought to go now. So we left. I come back 3 months later on, and the guy who was doing the clothing store says, don't you ever bring that guy back here again. My fondest memories of Bruce Lee would be just the training. My fondest memories would be the walks we did in Hollywood and going to different old bookstores, getting old used books on different subject matters that interest. My fondest memory of Bruce Lee was just eating. A lot of it was eating, walking in Hollywood, and working out. Those are my fondest memories. My other fondest memory, once when he tricked me and I was looking at a pair of weights, which was, at that time I was not financially able to buy it. And he goes, you like that? And I go, yeah. He said, hey, well, that's nice. Then he walked back and says, I'm going to buy this for Brandon. I didn't think anything of it, but Brandon was still very young. So it was about only, 120-pound assembly of different weights. And I remember him buying it, and then as he stopped at my house, he says, actually, I bought it for you. I don't want you to have it. Just work out, but it wasn't for Brandon. That's one of my fondest memories. Probably the other fondest memory I had is when we went to this fancy Japanese restaurant, and I brought $100 thinking that would be enough. And I remember when I saw the bill, it was over $100, and I go, oh gosh, I only have $100. And I guess he kind of knew it, because I guess he said my face turned red, and he tapped me in the leg underneath me, and nobody knew it. And he handed me some extra money, a couple of 20s, so I could finish the bill. And I said, how did you know, Sifu? He says, your face turned red when you saw the bill. That's my fondest memory, and no one knew about it. You know, my wife didn't know about it, and I don't think Linda knew about it. And then I thought that's one of my fondest memories that I had of him. He was so generous to the point. Many times when I was with him, my other fondest memory is that as a student, you're supposed to pay for your seafood. But I think the more times he paid for me, which I thought was very unusual, he said, no, I'll pay for it. And he would pay for the meal, which I thought was very different, because I always try to pay for it, but he always seemed to be, he said, no, I'll pay for it. Another fondest memory I had, I remember when he wasn't doing too well financially. And he said to go out to lunch. So we go out to lunch, and what we had was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and soup. That was it. So I have a lot of fond memories of him being with him. You know, I remember the hits. Those are fond memories because I learned being hit what I was doing wrong. So I probably would think of 100 things more, but at the time my memory's kind of limited. As you get older, your memory's not as sharp as it is, right? But those are, I think, the key things in my life. Just walking with him in down Hollywood into the used bookstores and going into the health food store, because health food stores in those days was Bud Thompson's school. And they were just very rare. And we look over to see what was the latest thing in nutrition, and I enjoy that part. I would think that what Bruce's contribution to the martial art is that everything is in constant change. Even principles can be questioned. That's why one of his famous sayings was, know the principle, follow the principle, dissolve the principle. Know the rule, follow the rule, dissolve the rule. You know, and I think what I learned from him, and I think what he taught the martial art world, is that growth is constant. Nothing is stagnant. Things change. And if you don't change, you're not on the cutting edge. What could be so efficient at this decade would be not efficient in even 10 years. What is the cutting edge in nutrition? Might not be the cutting edge in nutrition. What is the cutting edge in physical fitness? Will change. What they consider was good for training the abs in one decade might not be, in the next decades might be just obsolete. And what I learned from him was just change is necessary. And if you don't change, you don't survive. And then I think what I learned from him is giving 100% of what you really are. Because unless you give 100% of what you are, you don't really express the art. Not to copy anyone, to be yourself, to really truly express yourself, because every individual has their own expression of the art. He often used the word, a lot of singers, he was using Elvis Presley. He says, there's only one Elvis Presley. You can imitate him, but you're not Elvis Presley. Therefore, you want to create your own character, your own goal, and set out. He says, and be happy. He used to use the term walk on. He said, Dan, if you walk on, you make a mistake, and learn to live with your mistakes and to move on, never to look back when you made a mistake. And I think this is the greatest things I think he left. I'll use the word legacy. His best legacy was that, just to be inspirational, because if you're inspirational to one person, you might be only one person you think, but you're inspiration to many. Therefore, it makes a better world to live in. So, as corny as it sounds, but it really is true. But I think that's his legacy that he left to the martial art world. I like to think he did.